It's a horrible idea. We've had worse ideas before, though.
We have.
Okay. Everybody, we're back. This is Brandon, this is Kevin, and we're on another episode of Sips, Riffs, and Flix.
And I just noticed where it says recording, so that's my last time of being surprised.
Only 10 episodes in, the man's paying attention.
Because I was for real like, oh, are we recording? And now I see it.
So, by the way, like this channel, subscribe to the channel, tell your mama, tell your friends, everybody. And if you don't, do it anyway.
Yeah.
Most people don't like it.
So, were we recording when I was talking about what we're going to start doing when we taste bourbon?
We were not.
Okay. I didn't know when you hit record.
Nah.
Okay, sorry.
I just hit record when my fingers feel like it.
All right. So, yeah, another episode.
Mm-hmm.
What number is this, really?
I think it's number 10.
Number 10?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys. I cut my fingers off.
He just doesn't know how to open beers, apparently.
Not these fancy kind.
They are limited edition.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Any rate, so on this episode, Kevin, what is it that we're going to do, my friend?
We are going to name our favorite soundtrack of all time. So this is a Riffs and a Flix.
That's right.
And I guess it is technically a Sips also because we're always sipping.
Well, we're not
something.
reviewing it. We'll do something special.
Yeah. So we're doing a Riffs and Flix because we're going to talk about favorite soundtrack.
Yeah, and by the way, it's our favorite soundtrack.
Yeah.
Not the most selling, not the most popular soundtrack of all time. Or is it?
I don't know. We don't know what each other are picking.
Nope.
Okay, so I've texted Brandon several times over the last few days and been like, I can't just pick one.
But you have to.
But this is why I have such a hard time. We didn't really set like any parameters of why is it our favorite. And that's why I have such a hard time when people are like, what's your top 10 best rappers of all time? What's your top 10 guitarists of all? It's really hard for me to do because there's so many different ways I can think about it.
Well, sure. I mean, it depends on the mood that you're in. It depends on how it motivates you or stimulates you or whatever.
Oh.
But this is just one of those.
Freestyle.
Or, I mean, this is one of those where you got to pick shit or get off the pot.
All right. So let me ask you one question.
Sure.
Because I have a couple picks.
You got a couple, but it is number one's the one, right? The
right.
Number
well,
one.
Yeah, but
Yep.
whatever I give you depends on how you answer this.
Okay.
Are we basing this on our favorite soundtrack because there are so many songs on it that are great, or because the soundtrack fit the scenes in the movie so well that it made the movie?
Oh, gosh. Absolutely neither.
Okay.
That's not how I pick mine.
How did you pick yours?
I picked mine because, well, first of all, let's just tell everybody what I'll go first.
Oh, okay. Go
How's
ahead.
that? You know what? There's a lot of great soundtracks out there. But for me, there's number one for me, again, not you, or maybe it's for you, but that I like. And, I could have went with Almost Famous. That's a great soundtrack.
I thought about it.
And it's a great movie.
Thought about it.
Could have went with Top Gun,
Thought
but I
about it.
didn't.
Thought about
Great
it.
movie. Great soundtrack.
Thought about it.
Titanic, never crossed my mind.
Hated it.
Blow, yeah, it sure did. Goodfellas, yeah, thought about it. Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg and Steel Panther, the whole album, great.
I did not think about that one, but that one's
Didn't do
good.
it.
I know what you're going to pick.
But guess what I did go with, ladies and gentlemen? My number one favorite soundtrack of all time is Rocky IV.
I knew it. Oh, I didn't know it was going to be 4. I knew it was a Rocky.
number 4.
I know it was a Rocky, but I didn't know it would be that.
And I will tell you why it is my favorite of all time. If I don't want to get motivated to go work out or do exercise, or it's just something that's, it just and being a slack ass or whatnot, I don't care who you are. If you turn on Rocky IV and you just let it play, it gets you pumped up. It pushes you through. No easy way out. Get out of here. And there's no way that you can't see a scene in that movie and hear the soundtrack. So if you're working out, you can hear it. You can see the movie. I can remember being at my grandparents' house when I was young, probably, I don't know, I was little. But it had snowed outside, and Rocky IV was on. And so when it was over, I took my grandmother's old, vinyl leather ottoman stool that was in the living room that I used to jump on and wrestle on. And I created this little apparatus with rope, and I went out there, and so I tied it on my back, and I was digging through the snow. I was training. If Rocky can do it, I can do it. So that is a soundtrack that, to this day, it's my favorite soundtrack of all time. and it just motivates me, pushes me through. Yeah.
So I just looked it up. So on that soundtrack,
Yep.
You have No Easy Way Out.
Favorite.
But so this is my question.
Mm-hmm.
So Eye of the Tiger.
Yep.
Is that not on the original?
I think it is on the
well?
original.
Okay.
But
it's probably in all of them.
Actually, it would have to be because that's kind of like the title album track.
True.
However they would say it, like
the Sweetest Victory is on that soundtrack.
Well, is it Vince Capola? No,
Vince DiCola.
Yeah, Vince DiCola.
He does the training montage.
Oh, that's when he's running the mountain in the snow.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh man.
And then of course Living in America, which I love that song.
That's a great song too. Like
is that when what's his name's coming out?
Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And
James
Brown.
He's dancing to it, right?
Yeah. Well, James Brown is actually in the movie too.
Yeah, that's his song.
But he's performing.
I did not remember
exhibition.
that. I don't know that I've seen Rocky IV more than once in my whole life. Probably.
What?
I'm not a Rocky fan. I'm not a Rocky fan.
Okay. Number one, it's truly one of the greatest love stories of all time. Number one.
Adrian.
Yeah. Hey, you kidding me? And not to mention, how can you not be inspired by a guy who was broke, living in his car, maybe shot a porn video just to be able to eat, sold his favorite dog, by the way, because he needed the money, and would not give up the rights to Rocky. He was offered $100,000, but they wouldn't let him play Rocky.
I love the story. I love the story.
So I love all those things.
I just, this is going to upset some people, but I'm just not a fan of, just not.
About said it.
Sylvester Stallone.
You kiss your mom with that mouth. How can you not be a fan of Sylvester Stallone?
I like his story. He's just an awful actor. He's an awful actor.
You think you know people. You think you might spend, I don't know, 25, 30 years with them. You don't know anybody.
Never trust anyone.
Never trust anybody. I mean, like, imagine if I'd have picked something just awful. Like, I don't know. Pick a movie that's terrible. Most of them. And people are like, you're stranded on a desert island. Like, how long could you listen to Celine Dion before you wanted to drown your own self?
I'm going to go with 10 seconds. We do have a friend, however, that swears up and down to me that Celine Dion concert was one of the best concerts he's ever seen in his life.
Okay. You have a bullshit flag? Because I like to throw it.
That's what he said.
He's a liar.
I trust him because I don't want to have to go.
Was his wife or girlfriend sleeping other around when he said that?
His girlfriend.
Exactly.
At the time. So that is a good soundtrack, though. I do know the songs, and the songs are good enough, obviously, that when you hear them, you do know the scenes. Like you were talking about the ottoman on your back. Like I could hear the song with you out in the snow. Like I could hear it. I could hear it. So, yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah, not everybody at home's like, what? That's the one you picked? Yeah, I did.
So I've been trying to guess all weekend what you were going to pick.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to think of what movie has the most, like, 80s hair band music in it, and that was going to be my pick. But I couldn't really think of one.
Well,
that has, like, original – you know what I mean? There's movies about 80s hair bands, but, like, I can't think of one. Like, is there a Motley Crue song on a soundtrack? Is there a – there's got to be Guns N' Roses songs on.
Oh yeah, there are. I mean, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on that stuff now. But if there's not a Motley Crue on the soundtrack, there's Motley Crue playing at every strip club across America.
True.
And actually, probably international.
Probably. Yeah.
Yep.
Girls.
Can't go into a strip club without it.
All right. So
I hear.
Okay. So my pick, and I really did go back and forth on this a lot.
Yeah.
Actually. So before I tell my pick, I have an honorable mention that my wife wanted to submit.
Dirty Dancing?
She probably does love that.
That's a great one too,
no, without hesitation, I asked her,
mm-hmm.
What's your favorite soundtrack? As soon as I finished the sentence, Lost Boys.
Really?
She does love that song. So, yeah, she wanted to submit that one for the viewers.
Yeah, we can have a viewer choice.
All right, so mine's probably not going to be a surprise, but mine is based on...
Does it have a color in it?
Yes, it does. Purple Rain soundtrack. Because, here's why. If you just listen to that as an album and don't even know it's a soundtrack, it has some of Prince's greatest songs on it, all on one album. Then, for me, the movie itself, I mean, you know, I love that movie. A lot of people think it's awful. He's not a great actor. We all get it. But those songs make that movie. Like, the scenes are so good with those songs. So that is my number one pick, Purple Rain soundtrack.
I think when we talked about our favorite song of all time, I think I told you then I've never seen the movie Purple Rain. Or if I have, it's once, and it would be who
You're
knows
right.
when.
You don't know people.
Because I haven't seen it.
I'll go watch it right now.
If
I gotta go.
I can't think. I know there's a motorcycle involved. There's some chick he's sitting on it at some point.
Of course, there's a motorcycle, and then they ride down to Lake Minnetonka. She gets in. Apollonia is her name, and she gets in Lake Minnetonka nude because he tells her she's supposed to.
Really?
Tricks her.
Yeah. How many times have you ever told a chick you're supposed to be nude and she listens?
Get in Lake Minnetonka.
Is that the same place where Stephen What's-His-Face committed the murder on Making a Murderer? No, that's Manawa County.
Yes.
Don't ever commit a crime there.
Naked either. Like in Lake Minnetonka. So, yeah, that's my number one pick. I was going to say, what was your backup? Did you have a B, like what would be your second, like, runner-up?
I mean, not really. I mean, any of those ones I rattled off before are ones that I like because I like the music that's in those. I mean, I think even Boogie Nights had a good soundtrack.
It did have a good soundtrack.
And anything that's got those good 70s songs in it, I really like.
Yeah. But
I'm sure if I spent a whole lot of time, I could really think about other ones. But as soon as we came up with that, I was like, I know my number one. I'm done. And I couldn't give any more brain space.
Yeah. And I mean, Purple Rain was the one that jumped out at me first because, I mean, you have When Doves Cry on there. You have Purple Rain, obviously. You have Baby, I'm a Star. There's a lot of good ones. Darling Nikki. There's a ton of them. So, but my immediate first thought when I started thinking about it, because I always want to pick something kind of obscure too, which, obviously Purple Rain's not. But Judgment Night was my obscure pick. Do you remember that soundtrack?
No.
So it was one of the first albums that ever kind of fused rock with rap.
Yes.
So it had like Sonic Youth with Cypress Hill. It had there was a bunch of people. I don't even remember who all was on it. But that was originally was like Judgment Night, and I went back and listened to it one day over the weekend. But it was cool. I remember being really little and hearing it and like being so like confused and happy about rap and rock together. Like I was just like, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
And then they made a marriage right when we were. Remember the rock metal, no, the rap metal stuff.
Yeah.
With who were some of the bands? Limp Bizkit would fall into that category.
Yeah, they kind of dubbed them new metal.
New metal, that's what they call it.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit, Korn, which Korn didn't rap as much.
Yeah.
But Limp Bizkit was straight up like hip hop.
There was another band, one more band. I cannot believe I'm drawing a blank on this.
With that whole scene?
Mm-hmm. People are yelling at us right now.
But leave it in the comments.
Yeah, leave in the comments. Also, leave what your favorite soundtrack is of all time.
Yeah, and just base it on, I guess,
whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
There's no rules here.
No. So we have Purple Rain and we have Rocky IV.
Rocky IV
soundtrack is our favorite soundtracks of all time.
There's no way any time that I grip something, if I'm picking something up for work and I just push like this, I'm not thinking of Rocky in the cabin with the fire behind him.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting in that wagon. He's like,
see,
and he's pushing.
I do remember all those scenes. So there's another, let's take it another step further since we went through that pretty quick. So listeners, if there's some scenes of a show or a movie that you automatically, when you hear a song, you think of the scene, leave it in the comments. And I'll throw some examples. So like Footloose. Mm-hmm. Anytime you hear that song, I see them with the boots. They're going across the floor. Right. I always see that. Karate Kid, You're the Best Around.
I love that soundtrack.
That soundtrack's good, and I thought about it too.
It is on my phone.
That scene, You're the Best Around. It's all the fight scenes. And I even remember I don't remember what the song's called, but when they're on the beach.
Yep. I can look it up, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to be too nerdy.
So yeah, leave some comments if there's some songs that like define the scene of a movie that you always are going to remember.
Yeah. We didn't. We were hard pressed if we didn't even mention The Bodyguard, because I think
He's my bodyguard. I love it.
I Will Always Love You, I think, was the number one. I think that's
Song
the
for
number
like
one.
75 years in a row.
But
or
I
so.
think that was the number one selling soundtrack of all time.
I think that's probably right.
Unless it's been surpassed in the recent future. But I don't know what would surpass it.
That's maybe the Celine Dion Titanic song.
Maybe. I don't know. You guys
Those
are out
were
there.
about the same time. Titanic's a
Nah.
little old or newer than.
Yeah. I think The Bodyguard was around 92, 3, 4-ish.
I tell you what, when Kevin Costner is out there in the woods with his eyes closed,
Yep.
shooting that gun, God, he's cool. He's cool. Way before he was John Dutton, he was cool.
Oh, don't even. don't.
Tune in next episode for
And we'll be right back.
talking about Yellowstone.
All right, guys. So we appreciate it. That's our favorite soundtracks of all time. Let us know what your favorite soundtrack is of all time. Again, subscribe, like, tell your mom, tell your friends,
Subscribe,
leave a review.
like, share, comment.
Yes.
Anything else?
I should do it.
We need a tag phrase, like a tagline.
Yeah, we do. We'll figure it out. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank y'all.